Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with designated drinker Rose Previte, the co-founder of Go There Wines. So if you've missed part 1, you know what you got to do. You got to go ahead, belly back up to that bar and give it a listen first. We promise we'll save a seat right here for you. So in part 1, Rose, you shared what Go There Wine is, your inspiration behind it, and what I'd really love to find out is what's coming next. What do you got going on? And really more about the winemakers. I love what you have, like what you shared, like how the wines are being represented and introducing something that someone doesn't necessarily understand or know, or like, I don't know that grape, but from a branding standpoint, I think it's amazing. I think it's a great way to present something new and introduce me to something new. But I'd love to find out what you got going on. What's coming up?
Oh, I wish I could tell you I was going to take a nap. I'm getting closer to that. But no, we have some good stuff. I think my husband's part in this as a journalist is the storytelling. And so the way we get the stories is by going to visit the winemakers. And now that we are definitely a little bit more out of COVID, we're looking forward to some cool wine travel this summer. And then the fall, we go to Lebanon and to Georgia and check in on our winemakers. Try to help with harvest, though I don't know how helpful we are. We like to think that we are. We're like picking grapes and drinking wine, but then drinking just more wine.
Yeah.
When is harvest then for them?
Well, I don't want to go too much into the depressing topic of climate change, but it actually has been getting earlier and earlier. So they start now in August, like end of August in both Georgia and Lebanon. Unfortunately, it should have be starting in September, but it is getting warmer and warmer. So they're starting the grapes are ready. End of August. So we usually go like the beginning of September, and they're harvesting for weeks. But both places are cool. Lebanon has some really awesome grapes, an indigenous grape called Merwa, which is a white grape that's grown up in the mountains. So it's actually doing very well with climate change because it's not from like the Bekaa Valley where most of the great Lebanese wines, like Chacha Musar, that all comes from the Bekaa Valley, but it's getting hotter and hotter there, and they're like ruining the grapes. So some of these cool indigenous grapes are coming from the mountains, and they like the cold, and it stays cold up there longer. And so Merwa is in our pet nat, as a matter of fact, and our white wine from Lebanon. So they're very, very proud of that grape. That's not something from the French, like that's always been there. Grows like anywhere between rocks, and it's crazy. It's like not a normal vineyard. Like it's very scrappy. And the joke is always like the Lebanese people, the Lebanese grapes are very scrappy.
That's
like we
funny.
say because they've been through so much. And
it's like Alianico in Italy. It's like the same thing.
They
it's
use
like
that metaphor, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that crazy like weed type grape.
Yep.
And it's just like everywhere.
So what's the characteristics of that wine then?
It can be floral, but they tend to actually mix it. You don't see it as 100% Merwa often. So we have ours with oh my gosh, guys, the Grenache. And they tend to mix it in. Wait, no, because that one's it's a Pet Nat Rosé, I should mention, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry. That's probably one of my favorites. Don't tell anybody. I can't say I have a favorite because I'll get everybody mad. But the Pet Nat from Lebanon is probably one of my favorites. It's got some of the coolest grapes, and it's light. It works. I'm drinking it in the winter, but it's like also perfect for spring and summer. Nothing on there can you go wrong with. Like they're meant to be, drank all year long, even though we had our South African rosé sparkling was really fun over the holidays. We sold a bunch around New Year. So there's a ton of stuff to play with in there. But our favorite part is, going, meeting the winemakers, hearing their stories, hearing about what happened last year, the upcoming vintage. And then David records everything. And we do a series of like audio as well as the visuals that you'll see on the website and on our Instagram page and stuff like that.
It's awesome. Content.
It is content, but it's like that's the way, other than like the food pictures that I'm taking all day long, for Instagram. It's really nice to actually get to go there and see what's going on the ground.
Well, I mean, as a wine drinker, I think that's really awesome, especially when I'm being introduced to something I don't know. The more you can give me, the more excited or the better the experience, because I'm getting the history as well as the beauty of the wine. I think it just tells a really nice wine story.
I don't think a lot of people know, even when Rose is just talking about how you blend the wines, even though they call it like a Syrah, just to say.
Yeah.
Like it could be like 35% Cab Franc.
Absolutely.
Right? Just to say. And like what you're saying isn't abnormal for the wine drinkers, but like these are more advanced wine drinkers where you have to like do that. But like when you're introducing a wine to the world that may be like new to America, that's new to us, like I feel like you have to almost say, this is a blending grape and this goes in and blah blah blah, just to make it more approachable, and they have to understand what it is, right?
Oh, totally. It can be hard in the restaurants when you actually have them in person to talk about it, but it's really hard retail. And I think that's why selling this online and the videos are so important, because I think they're really doing the best job of explaining it, because I don't have you in the space, with the concept menu to match the food. And I'm like, you're going to learn.
A roaring fire. It's 1,000 degrees.
My one restaurant does have this roaring fire, which does help sell wine. It helps sell everything. But like Del Shabi, like the Georgian grapes are really hard to pronounce. So we are either, they are blending with European grapes, or we try to make comparisons, to something that's familiar. But you still, like, part of this is education, and we don't want to, like, water it down. We want you to learn these words, right? Merhois. Like, we even have a video of Eddie, like, trying to explain, the Arabic pronunciation. And so you can have fun with it. But I don't know what you think, Gina, but I feel like when you're selling to people too, like, look, a lot of people don't know that much about wine. They just like what they like, what tastes good. And if they know there's meaning and a good reason for it, and there's some crazy data about people picking wine based on the label, like 9 times out of 10. So it's like,
Guilty.
Let's just all be honest. I mean, me too. Like, this is my industry, and I'm still picking.
That's the way of the world. That's why branding is king.
Says
a person who owns a company that does branding, FYI.
When I worked at Rasica, right, Indian, for people that don't live in DC, it's an Indian restaurant, and we had the wine list. Like, one time we were like, all right, we're only going to do wines with animals on it. So if you had a wine, you brought in the most amazing wine, we didn't buy it. We only bought the wines that are some animal, had to have an animal. And we call it the Wild Kingdom list. And, like, my boss at the time was like, what crazy shit are you and Sebastian doing? We're like, we love the labels, and don't get me wrong, the wine was delicious, and Sebastian's an amazing wine picker. But I mean, yes,
let's be real about why you drink wine.
Hung up on the labels.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's not just for clothes; it's for everything, right?
It is everything.
It is.
You know what else is everything?
A party.
Your cocktails.
Yes,
everything.
let's do it.
All right,
let's do it. Let's take a walk. Okay, so of course I had to be inspired, right? So we made a rose tea syrup, which, very easy. It's like rose for rose, but really it's in your food. And I've eaten in your restaurants, and I definitely know it's definitely part of your repertoire. Yes. And I love this because it's like a sweet tea syrup, and it's like super fragrant, and like almost has like a Nana-esque kind of
that's
smell. It's all about the perfume. So this drink we're going to use the chacha, right? So we're going to use 2 ounces of chacha. We're making 2 cocktails. And normally I would tell you to use 2 shaker tins, but today, it's almost like being at home. So you'll just do 2 at once, and that's totally fine. And then we're going to use 3/4 of an ounce of pink grapefruit juice, and then half the amount of lime. Sorry, I can't think right now. Is that lime? So yes, can you measure? Sure. Am I doing this for my friends? Yes. So we're going to be fine. So I have to say that one thing I always love about Rose and like everything, when you ever go to a restaurant, and I know that Jesse and other people have done your cocktails over the years, I just love that sometimes like you always have this like one kooky, like you have a kooky little fun, like dancey little fun thing. And that's how I think of you. I think of like that kind of like persona, so I had to make the glass partied. So it is springtime, it's warming up, you're gonna be spending more time outside, you're, enjoying the weather a little bit more. And I wanted it so that you had that same vibe. So we're gonna put lime juice, we're doing fresh squeezed lime. So here's a fun fact, if you're gonna use grapefruit in a drink, you need to have a supporting actress of a different kind of citrus in order for the grapefruit to taste like grapefruit. Today we chose lime. I don't know why. I'm not a scientist. It is just how it works. So
I also love grapefruit. Thank you so much.
So now we're gonna put it. I really love grapefruit. It's so delicious. So we're gonna use. We have 2 drinks, so we're gonna use 2 ounces of the rose syrup. And if you catch first part of this episode, you will have the recipe on how to make the syrup, or you can catch it on Instagram. All right, and then we're gonna take. So first of all, I did not have a can opener. So I did it like this. So this is condensed coconut cream. So this is like a vegan coconut milk, right? We're gonna put in, and we're not using it to get the flavor from it so much as we're getting the body from it. And we just wanted to, I hate to say this word, thicken. We want to give this like just a little bit more mouthfeel, a little bit like rounder mouthfeel. Sometimes when you use a lot of citrus in a drink, you can lose body. And that's not what we want to do. We want to increase the body. So when you have condensed anything, it's very, very sticky. But we just, it's just a touch. It's just like a little bit to give it a little bit more of velvety taste. Okay. All right. Let me give it a shake. Whew. All right. So prior to you arriving, and if you are going to do this at home, and you are going to use the sprinkles, then you don't need any sprinkles on the glass. I just want to do it. You need to rim these beforehand, because if you try to do this to order, or to your friends being there, you're crazy. It's never going to happen. Basically, what you do is you take the rose syrup, you dip it very gently, and then you put it in a pile of whatever you want it to look like. And for me, I wanted it to be, super fun, and just remind me of like spring and like why we're here, and it's like a party, and like we're all happy to be, out and about and enjoying delicious cocktails. So that being said, we're shook the cocktail, and I was gonna pour it over ice, but you know what? I don't really feel like it needs it, so we're not gonna do that. So we're gonna give you one. And if you tell me different and you want ice, I will definitely put ice. It's kind of a personal opinion, but it just looks so pretty without it. I don't know, Louise, what do you think? You want ice?
No, I'm gonna do it the way you say. I trust you. And I don't want to dilute that either, because it looks so good.
There we go. Okay. It's like almost like a shot, really, this way, huh? Maybe we should put a little bit more in there. Anyway, that is, so I haven't really come up with a name yet, but I think it's like kind of like spring flingy is coming to my mind. Like spring fling. It's got like the beginnings of summer. I don't know. Summer-esque, if you will. Like I said, you just remind me of things that are dancey. So I just
I'm like racking my brain now. Like, there has to be something that's good with like spring and girl power. We got it. We can do this. I know we can.
I mean, all I can think of is like, for some reason, is May Day, and that's like just the stupidest thing ever, right? It's like some kind of crap my mother would have done when she was like in school in Brooklyn, New York. And like, oh, May Day was such a big holiday. Anyway, all right. Now, do you have to eat the sprinkles? No. But you were just going
want to. This is beautiful.
There we go. I shouldn't be sticking to you. This is for you, and then I'm gonna make one for.
Cheers.
For Shannon. Cheers.
Gina, it is as delicious as it is cute.
There's flamingos on there somewhere. I think maybe they might have fallen off, but.
Now I want one. No, I don't see one.
I mean, they might have been a little too heavy to stick to it.
One.
That could have happened too.
I have to tell you, like, ever since I had children, I never like was into all of these like sprinkles and whatever on the glasses. But there is some kind of like aesthetic to it that makes it super cute.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what's that noise?
It's Charlotte's tail. Come.
Oh. I don't know. There's something about my kids that like have inspired me to be more like, silly and not so serious constantly. Like, your mom, you're always like a little too, like, oh, everyone doesn't really care. And I was like, you're kind of right. I've taken that like to heart. Like, lighten up. Life is like it's not so serious. It's what you get out of it and enjoy, because at the end, who gives a shit?
Hey,
how many articles can you have written about you, and then you're like, who cares? If you're not happy and doing silly things like that, then it means nothing.
So to make a fun, enlightening, invigorating, I don't know what other adjective I'm going to put in there. Where are they going to get the recipe?
You're going to go to designateddrinker.show for the recipe, and then you can watch how to make the rose syrup on Instagram at designateddrinker. And then you can look at my ugly mug, and you know what? What are you going to do? It's good. We're good.
And then, of course, we're going to, if you need to, just scroll down to the episode notes, or again, go to designateddrinker.show. Again, like Gina said, you'll get the tips, tricks, and how-tos, all the recipes, but we're also going to make sure you have live links to Go There Wine, so you can support an amazing cause, an amazing effort, be a part of something much bigger, enjoy amazing wines while you're doing it. I think it's a win-win-win-win-win. That's a lot of wins.
I agree completely.
Does that make me windy?
A few sips of the drink and look where you go.
That's great. So if I were to go, and which I will now that I'm exposed to it, how would you tell? What should I do if I go There Wines? I'm going to experience something new. What's the best way to do that as a newcomer?
Well, please watch the video. I think everything is about the winemakers. And if you go to the little documentary, it's just 10 minutes. You're going to get this beautiful vision of all the places the wine came from and meet the people. So that's where you should start. But then, go there. I didn't even mean to do that. For a reason or no reason at all. I mean, I think everyone with a well-stocked wine cellar should have these wines in them. But also the parties with a purpose are great. Like everyone... It's springtime, right? There's graduations, birthdays, going to the beach in the summer. We've got, the Lebanese white is gorgeous on the beach. The pet nat that I keep going back to would be wonderful for summertime. So you don't need an excuse to have a party with purpose, but you might also have one. And there's lots of stuff coming up that it's a good excuse to celebrate. It only takes a couple days. It'll land on your doorstep in time for whatever your event or, a vacation is. And then if you just want to be lazy about it, join the wine club, and then you don't even have to think about it anymore, and they're just going to come to your doorstep quarterly. It'll get you through the collection. It'll give you, sneak peeks to wines that are coming on board and winemakers that are entering the community, and you'll get access to those first. So you can take a stab at it either way. I love the clubs because I just forget to reorder things that I like, or I always forget presents for people, or what cool wine do I want to take to a party. So, if you're that person and you just want to have something cool on hand, your bottle will stand out at that dinner party because nobody else will have it. You can only buy it in restaurant. Compass Rose and Maidon have the wines right now. So if you're in the DC area and you want to come by and try them there, you can. But otherwise, it's all online.
Why don't you just take over, Gina, and I'm gonna go order my wine while you guys finish.
I love that.
You work. Let me go order the wine.
I never realized how much I love the direct to consumer thing. I didn't.
COVID taught us this, right? This is the one nice thing was all these things just appear in your door. You don't have to leave your house anymore.
It's ridiculous, right?
Well,
I totally.
We have to thank Uncle Jeff for introducing us to that.
I know.
The Bezos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Amazons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even my mom is she's going crazy with Amazon shopping. It's making us all really nervous.
You can lose your mind on doing that kind of stuff, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is just what it is. All right, are we there?
We are there.
We're there. So,
I'm nervous.
No.
This is our weekend.
It's our fun last question. Anyway. So, everyone, Rose, come on, everyone has I identify, as a spirit animal. They're I identify with the white-tailed deer because they run free in Michigan and they're just everywhere and they're super wonderful, right? Well, if you can identify one ingredient, whether it's for cocktail or for food, what would that ingredient be and why do you identify with it? Or what does it say about you?
I love the tables turning on me. We tend to ask staff when they start, if there was a vegetable, what would they be? And they always hate it. And now I feel like I'm in their shoes now.
Good job,
I'll answer that question quickly. Cauliflower. I love it. So versatile.
Okay, thank you for playing.
I love it. Yeah,
oh, really?
great.
I always say cucumber because you're hard on the outside but really soft and
I was gonna say cucumber.
See,
yeah.
Can be
Same
a little
reason.
bit bitter on the skin.
Well, I would say because you're always cool.
You're always good. See,
It's good. It's good. Smart.
It's good. But this has to be any ingredient, cocktail or
food. It's just an ingredient that is your spirit animal or spirit ingredient.
For whatever reason, the first one coming up for me is cinnamon. But because it's in the spice category for sure. I'm a crazy collector of all spices. I basically bathe in za'atar every day. I have 2 restaurants that overuse za'atar. We have a za'atar martini, that's classic at 2 of the restaurants. So somewhere between za'atar and cinnamon. But cinnamon just because it's it can be bitter, right, if you have too much. But when used in the right doses and in the right places and with the right ingredients, I think, it really brings out the best of it. And it's just it's a welcoming, safe smell to me anyway. And it's used in tons of Lebanese food. So if you haven't caught on, I'm Lebanese American and that smell is home to me. But I think it's just it's a flavor enhancer in most places that's sometimes I think misunderstood because we have had people in the restaurants who claim to not like cinnamon, but then they try it and they really like it. So I think if you just give me a chance, and if you give Go There Wines a chance, you're really going to like us, just like cinnamon. So there's my
so good.
shameless plug.
No, it was great. It was
Good
great.
job of pulling it all back together.
Thanks, guys.
Happy Women's Month.
Happy Women's Month,
spring.
ladies.
Yes.
You know, everything pink, ladies. Everything pink.
Pink.
Cheers.
It's all coming up tea and roses.
Oh,
right?
there she goes. I'm gonna let.
I spent a few minutes with you and
I
I can't stop.
know. Contagious.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you're doing and really giving us another way of thinking about how we drink wine and what we can do. It's a small ask, but it has a big ripple, obviously, and thank you for doing all of that and bringing that to us.
Well, it's been a really enjoyable time, and I'll leave you with what my husband likes to say about it, too, that really applies to the show. And I should have thought of it sooner, but he says you can also experience a guilt-free hangover with Go There wine. So if you're also
really
worried at all, if you needed any more reasons, Go There wine is your way to have a guilt-free hangover. So a lot of good causes, but also, helps you feel a little bit better about that headache the next day.
No, that's so cute.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers. Thanks, ladies.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, we craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Roger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And while you're there, please don't forget to follow, download, and review the shows. Your reviews help our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.